Amon was an antisocial miscreant who relied solely on his Johnnies and CDs for happiness and had no pals. But when he uses his Riz to save the depressed girl next door, his entire life takes a positive turn, and she falls in love with him, giving him the joy he's been lacking. Their first encounter occurs when Amon is leaving. Sheena is sitting in the rain, looking depressed as he gets home from school. He considers passing by, but realizes he can't leave her there after witnessing her sobbing. He then walks over, covers her with his umbrella, passes it to her, and advises her not to become sick. Because of the rain from the previous day, Amon sneezed a lot at school the following day. When Sheena walks into the classroom, everyone in the room goes crazy, ogling her beauty as if she were Megan Fox. Amina decides that it is impossible for an angel like the school's angel to be melancholy because she is always smiling and amazing at all she does. He is aware that all of the pathetic simps would adore dating her, but a Sigma Chad like him doesn't. Ammon is shocked to find Sheena waiting for him with his umbrella when he drags his half-dead self home later that day. Sheena remarks that he looks awful and claims she's simply returning what isn't hers. Sheena claps back when Amina begs her to keep her mouth shut, stating that she must take care of him since he became ill while attempting to perform Night in Shining Under the Sun. He grabs the umbrella from her and orders her to let it go, but he almost passes out in the middle of his sentence. Like a rom-com heroine, Sheena catches him and says she owes him one. As soon as she enters his dreadful flat, she tells him to change and that she will return soon. She merely responds that she wants to improve his quality of sleep when Amon questions why she would want to go back to this dump. Amon is still shocked that she lives next door as she quickly disappears to her own room. When he awakens later that evening, Sheena is observing him. She tells him that he has been unconscious for 2 hours and inquires as to whether he is hungry because she prepared rice porridge especially for him. Amon finds it hard to believe that she can also cook. She gives him a thermometer, so he may take his own reading. Additionally, Sheena glances aside in a panicked, frightened manner when he removes his shirt to check his. Amon now understands why all the guys at school are swooning over her appearance. When she returns with the oatmeal, she inquires about his temperature. He claims that sleep and a few medications won't help, but Sheena offers him an impromptu lesson on the importance of health class. He merely looks at the meal like a dumb donut when she hands it to him. He's more shocked that she can cook than that she teases him about needing to be spoon-fed. She shrugs and adds that living alone is only a matter of fundamental survival. She also suggests that he should learn how to cook and clean his crusty-looking room. She dismisses Amon's praise of her meal, claiming that a one-armed dummy could prepare rice porridge. Then, he brings up the elephant in the rain and asks why she was acting like a sad figure, implying that it was because her 4 lovers had broken up with her. In order to clap different guys, Sheena swiftly states that she doesn't have a boyfriend and that her values are upheld. That strikes a chord, even if Amon quips that she likely has suitors lined up. He notices the change in her demeanor and apologizes when she lashes out that she is not a public restroom. She admits that she was merely attempting to get her thoughts straight that day and expresses regret for making him ill. He dismisses it by saying he doesn't mind and that, in contrast to other men, he won't try to use her guilt to get her to drink his alcohol. Sheena admits how exhausting it is that all of the boys around her are interested in her, and she is surprised by it. She begs him not to call her that out of annoyance, but he adds that it's kind of refreshing to know even angels have bad days. Itsuki is relieved to see Amon healthy again on the following school day and advises him to gather himself. Itsuki casually tells Amon that Sheena is beyond his level when he sees her assisting pupils with math when they are out for a walk. Amon is eating a pitiful jelly on the balcony of his apartment that evening. Sheena also chastises him for his bad food choices after observing what he is consuming. After ordering him to wait in his room, she walks inside and returns a little while later carrying actual leftover food. She again begs him to stop with the angel thing after he thanks her and jokes about celestial food once more. Then, as he eats, he considers how good it is. She expresses gratitude to him for genuinely washing her plate when he returns it the following morning. He is shocked when she serves him another dish of food, though. She says she always makes too much, but he objects to her gesture. He concedes and expresses gratitude, but cautions that if she persists in this behavior, he may develop affections for her. He icily responds that he doesn't when she asks if that's the case, and she slams the door in his face. Since then, Sheena has continued to feed Amon her home-cooked meals, and his diet has miraculously improved. Junk food that used to cause diarrhea has given way to wholesome meals. When Amon asks Itsuki if he looks healthy at school, he is truly shocked to hear that he no longer looks like a corpse. When Amon runs across Sheena one afternoon while shopping, he assures her that he is not stalking her. Knowing they are in the grocery store nearest to their homes, she rolls her eyes and instructs him to move on. He commends her for conserving the allowances her parents granted her after observing how prudently she uses her budget. To his perplexity, though, she displays a hint of melancholy when he says that. Amon offers to help her carry her things when she finishes her shopping. He argues that she would gain more charm points if she allowed him to, but she refuses. Then he continues, claiming that they would still appear odd together. She discovers him in the middle of cleaning in his trash pit of a room when she later stops by his apartment to retrieve the container from the other day. Sheena intervenes and gives him a crash course in adulting after he acknowledges that he has no idea what he's doing. They then start Operation Cleanup, determined to fight the mess. They clean the room without incident at first, but halfway through Sheena stumbles and Amon catches her in a highly advantageous position. She chastises him for allowing his residence to become a health risk, which led to her falling. They continue cleaning after he apologizes, but Sheena's heart is racing in the back of her mind. Feeling worn out after cleaning, Amina recommends they get pizza. Sheena acknowledges that she has never tasted pizza from takeaway because her family is too affluent for it, but she is amazed to witness it for the first time. She urges Amon to stop gazing as she gets deep into it, and he responds by accusing her of having no charm. He does, however, say that he prefers this laid-back side of her than the stiff, flawless one from school. She claims that this is how she has always been on the inside. She responds that she can't relax with him when his eyes are bothering her, even if Amon tells her she can. Amon questions why she continues to feed him every day before departing. She says she enjoys cooking for other people and is pleased to see that Amon is consuming healthy food rather than his typical junk food. She continues by saying that, in contrast to other men, Amon doesn't feel anything for the things she performs, which she finds enjoyable. Amon concludes that she has no feelings for him as she leaves for her room. Amon understandably wonders what Sheena is doing alone when he finds her parked alone a few days later. Amon doesn't buy it when she casually throws forth a nothing. The fact that her clothing is covered makes his detective prickle in fur and wounds, and he inquires as to if she has been holding a tiger. Sheena admits that she just tried and failed to save a cat by climbing a tree. Playing the role of reluctant hero, Amon instructs her to remain motionless and then appears moments later carrying a medkit akin to an over-prepared Boy Scout. She is told to remove her tights by him. Sheena then asks him if he's sober, that he can ask her that question. He then throws her his jacket and makes it clear that this isn't a ruse. All he wants is for her knee to not float like a balloon. He looks away as she sorts herself out and appreciates that he doesn't try to peek, even though she reluctantly accepts. She wraps her ankle with unexpected elegance and then murmurs that perhaps he isn't totally worthless. This backhanded remark is accepted by Amon, as if it were the Nobel Peace Prize. Then he gives her a jacket and some baggy sweatpants. When questioned why, he responds that it's so she can hide her celebrity identity while he transports her back. She then apologizes for the inconvenience as he carries her home. Amon simply dismisses it, claiming that Chad is a true gentleman. However, when Sheena thanked him, Amon hurried into his room at home, and Sheena discovers she's still wearing his trousers. When Amon arrives at school the following day wearing shorts, Itsuki raises an eyebrow at him. Since he forgot his sweatpants, Amon urges him to shut it. Amon, who is not impressed, remarks on how the school is strangely adept at giving nicknames like Angel and Prince, while Kadawaki, the popular, attractive, Squidward-looking guy, is receiving his customary Prince treatment. He looks at Sheena across the field at that moment, and she smiles at him, making Amon turn away. However, the other guys believe she is grinning at them. Sheena stops by his house later to return his clothing and brings food as a peace gesture. When Amina inquires about her health, she responds that she is doing well but won't be participating in any marathons anytime soon. She rolls her eyes and tells him that she detests the moniker when he makes fun of her for lighting up the field with her lovely grin. She wonders why the audience nearly passed out when she smiled. Alman, who is always a smooth talker, remarks on her appearance and asks if she likes Katawaki. Alman briefly reboots after Sheena informs him that she has no interest in Katawaki and responds that if attractive faces were enough, he would be in love with her right now. He finds it funny that even though she admits she's a badass, she dismisses it by claiming to know it from the way people treat her. She also looks after herself well. Alman says he prefers it fresh, implying that he wants a cooking date, but she tells him to microwave it after he inspects the dish and inquires as to whether she prepared it. He tells her he's not dumb when she asks whether he's trying to enter her flat to get weird. In order to provide Amon with freshly prepared meals, they agree to divide the cost and cook at his house instead. She promises him that she would mash his eggs and pickle if he attempts anything, and she asks if she will feel comfortable in his room. She goes on to say that she isn't his kind. She responds that if that were true, he would have been glazing her feet by now, when he wonders how she would know that, but that is untrue. Sheena advises him to move aside since she doesn't want him to obstruct her path after noticing that the kitchen is immaculate and likely the only spotless item in his apartment. Amon observes her cooking and believes she resembles his wife. She interrupts him and inquires as to if he is attempting to peek through her apron. She's full of herself, he retorts. Amina devours the food like a man under a spell and praises her cooking, claiming it's the nicest thing he's eaten since his mother's milk. He then queries why she continues to feed a man she ostensibly dislikes. She shrugs, claiming that she likes it and that feeding the poor is also good karma. If it seems strange, she attempts to stop, but Amon swiftly orders her to go on. After passing a difficult test the following day, Itsuki complains that it was unfair, and Amon quips that it's what he gets for dating rather than studying. Itsuki responds with a clap, stating that once Amon falls in love, he will receive the same amount of punishment. At that moment, Itsuki's girlfriend Cheetos appears and asks if Amon is dating anybody else since she wants to befriend her. In jest, he claims that his fictional one would disapprove of new friendships. Sheena later thanks Amon for doing the dishes at his house. She casually responds that she's grading herself when he asks what she's working on. When Amon inquires about her progress, she sheepishly boasts that she has already studied the material for the following year. She responds that she has no choice when he asks if she even enjoys studying. Amon acknowledges he primarily does it to stay out of trouble with his parents. She unintentionally drops her ID before leaving, and Amon promptly gives it back to her. Nevertheless, he immediately notes that it is her birthday in 4 days. He asks her what she would want if he were to give her a gift later on while he's cooking. He is surprised when she pauses and states that she would want a sharpening stone. Sheena just responds, he's lucky that she's not like other girls, when Amon, who is a little worried, asks if she's normal. Amon asks Itsuki for advice on gift ideas the following day, but he decides to postpone his idea because everything seems terrible or unrealistic. When they finally call in Cheetos, he becomes overly intrigued right away. She keeps asking Amon questions about the girl, but he consistently dismisses them. At last, she recommends a plush animal. Cheetos considers Amon a coward as he laughs at the notion of purchasing a teddy bear like a romantic lead. But even if Amon thinks a plush animal is a smart idea, he begs her to help him buy one so he won't look foolish. He eagerly offers to buy her crepes in exchange for her agreeing to do so. When Sheena's birthday arrives a few days later, Amon bravely gives her the presents and wishes her a happy birthday. She asks him how he knows it's her birthday, feeling uneasy, and he explains that he spotted it on her ID by accident. She tells him that since she had never celebrated her birthday before, he should have just ignored it. Nevertheless, he tells her to accept the gifts as a sign of appreciation after hearing that. The first gift, a hand cream, is then opened by her, and she thanks him for it. He explains that he felt she might need it because she uses her hands a lot throughout the day. She discovers another item in the bag. A teddy bear, though, and he tells her, embarrassed, that she can discard it if she doesn't like it. She tells him, however, that she will always treasure the teddy bear. His gaze lingers on her as she embraces the bear, but he swiftly averts his gaze so as not to arouse any emotions. She abruptly tells him that she has never received gifts like that before because she has never shared her birthdays with anyone. She talks about how receiving gifts from strangers always made her anxious. She also responds that he is not unfamiliar to her when Almond inquires about his gifts. He feels the need to pat her head out of the blue, but he swiftly suppresses it after realizing he nearly folded. A few days later, Amon's door opens to show his mother Shioko, the final boss of his tranquil life. He looks better than she remembered, she remarks, smiling as she meets him. In typical Amon way, he thanks her half-heartedly and orders her to scram. She obviously doesn't care about that and demands that he at least act as though he's glad to see her, especially since she traveled so far. Amon sighs, says thank you, a little less abruptly, and instructs her to go once more. Unfazed, Shoko attempts to go straight inside his apartment, but Amon acts as a human barrier. Till she reminds him whose money is paying the rent, that is. The barricade breaks down after checkmate, and Shoko enters like she's on a mission. As she looks around, Amon complains about proper behavior for guests, obviously having fun taking him by surprise. Amon remembers the minutes before he had to cram Sheena into his bedroom in order to escape meeting his mother when she remarks on how spotless his room is and how gorgeous his complexion looks. But Shoko accuses him of cooking for two after noticing the indicators from 2 sets of dishes and possibly a perfume odor. Amina mutters something about a buddy while maintaining her composure. However, he leaps to stop Shioko when she tries to enter the bedroom. He says he won't show her his DVDs of Mia Khalifa. Shioko, however, doesn't believe it. To her astonishment, Sheena is sleeping like the narrative twist that she is when she bursts in. Shoko beams and says he has good judgment in women. Shioko slaps Amon with the classic after he denies everything and says nothing is happening. If a girl doesn't like a boy, she will never go into his room. Shino awakens without a hitch as he frantically attempts to correct the record. Amon tries to object when Shoko introduces herself to her mother-in-law right away, but Shioko takes over. Sheena tries to justify their connection by pointing to Amon's fast food addiction, but Amon is embarrassed as he watches. However, Shioko is already making plans for their wedding and future children. Shoko blames it on fate and claims her young kid is stuck with the ideal woman after learning that Sheena lives next door. She suggests that Sheena take the initiative and notes that Amon is still a virgin. Completely exhausted, Amon orders her out. Shoko pretends to be sorry for interrupting their romantic evening. She obtains Sheena's phone numbers prior to departing, and then she leaves. Finally, by himself, Amon apologizes for his mother's circus act. Sheena, however, asserts that he is fortunate to have someone who is willing to stir up trouble. Amina finds this somewhat upsetting, particularly when Sheena acknowledges that nobody, not even her own parents, addresses her by her first name. They consent to exclusively using each other's first names in private. Because he trusts her, Amon tells her to keep the key he gave her in a panic when she tries to return it. Amon accepts Sheena's warning that he's essentially inviting theatrical romance scenes in the vein of anime with grace. Unsurprisingly, Sheena tops the test rankings the following day. The females are referring to her as built differently, which Amon hears. Amon, who is aware of Sheena's actual nature, disagrees inside and believes that Sheena is a diligent worker who puts in twice as much effort as the others. Later, Sheena asks Amon if he has a secret fondness for sweets after discovering an odd cake in his refrigerator. It's for celebrating her top score, he shrugs. He claims that she is too modest for her own good, even if she downplays it. Amon looks at her, who is sweeter than the cake, rather than the cake when she serves it. She gives him a bite after misinterpreting it. He acknowledges that he was observing her rather than the cake.
She still makes him eat.
He then asks how it feels to be spoon-fed and feeds her back in return. He cautions her that spoon-feeding people food like that could give them ideas when she says it's intolerable. Later on, Amon makes the decision to go on a solitary mission and cook for himself. He regrettably can't stop thinking about how much better Sheena's meal tastes. She provides assistance with the same kind of trust individuals have in expired coupons when he shares his proposal with her. He starts his culinary battle by explaining his great dish. He hesitantly feeds her a bite of the dishes, which end up looking like dog water. After giving it a try, she essentially tells him that it tastes like the dashed hopes of OnlyFans's unsuccessful girls. Nevertheless, she offers him a sample of her version of the same dish and expresses gratitude for the effort. She says it's beneficial for him to learn how to cook and inquires as to what will happen after he does. With a smile, Amon says he hopes he never finds out, so she will always have an excuse to visit. Sheena informs him that she will teach her gradually after hearing that, which causes her heart to race. A few weeks later, Itsuki and Cheetos want to get together at Amon's house for a Christmas Eve party. After Amon ends it, Cheetos inquires as to whether his made-up lover has any other plans. He responds that he is still unmarried, but Cheetos confronts him about the stuffed animal present he received. He merely explains that he got it for his neighbor, who has been lending a hand around the house. He consents to host after considerable coercion and pleading, but they must depart before nightfall. Amon later inquires about Sheena's plans on Christmas Eve with her pals. She claims that she has rejected a dozen invitations from desperate Sims and that the majority of her girlfriends had boyfriends. She responds as usual that she will spend Christmas Eve alone in her room when Amon informs her that his Chaos pals have a reservation for that night. He sees how lonely and depressed she appears. She accepts his offer to spend Christmas Day with him instead, provided he teaches her how to play his video games, something she has always found interesting. When Christmas Eve arrives, the festivities begin. According to Itsuki, Amon's location appears far less terrible than it did previously. Additionally, Cheetos observes that it now has a feminine touch, which puts Amon in a crisis. Itsuki tells him to get a life when he tries to stop their flirting. Amon becomes skeptical when Cheetos nonchalantly brings up how Sheena turned down every man this Christmas because she had plans with someone else. The couple rushes to the balcony to get a better view as the snow begins to fall. To their surprise, however, they discover Sheena there by herself, serene and lovely beneath the snow, right next door. Sheena promptly apologizes for revealing their secret when the gang meets at Amon's house later. Since it wasn't her fault in the first place, Amon, the resident stoic with a soft spot, tells her to calm down. Sheena dissects their living situation to pique everyone's interest and says she's only attempting to prevent Amon from destroying himself like a broken toaster. Thank you for watching to this point. This is not the end. For part 2, don't forget to like and subscribe. We got other interesting anime recaps for you. Choose the left or the right video.